Hello, everybody. Welcome into a Monday edition of the Computer America program. Hope all of you had a nice weekend. In the second hour, Ben and I are going to be doing computer and technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America.
1 minute until showtime.
And in the first hour, we have the founder and CEO of a company called Atmospheir, spelled very strangely. It is an interesting social address book with some amazing, they're calling it the address book of the 21st century. Matt Cremine is here, founder and CEO. We'll be joining him momentarily, so sit back, relax, enjoy the show as we get 2 hours of Computer America. Matt, is it Cremine or Cremine? Matt? Oh, well.
I would go with Crumrine.
Cremine?
Crumrine.
Matt, are you there? I think we lost Matt.
What?
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live, it's America's longest-running national radio talk show on computers, Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. Look for Craig's weekly column in your favorite newspaper. This show is being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. Keep it here for technology news, computer products, guest interviews, and your phone calls. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello, and welcome into the Computer America show. It's the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. Computer America is heard around the world and coast to coast. And I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And welcome into another week of Computer America. Hope all of you had a wonderful, relaxing weekend and maybe caught a good movie. Was it San Andreas? Is the one that
San Andreas? It came out this weekend.
Exactly, with The Rock. So if you're moviegoers, I'm sure that you caught that. And I know your mom wants to see it, so I'm probably going to take her during a matinee. She said this is something, I guess she likes disaster movies. I'm not sure, or movies that are a disaster. I'm not sure which it is, but she wants to see it, and so, hey, I'm going to take her to a matinee.
Well, it looks like it could be entertaining in that weird, could be good, but hey, it has a lot of special effects and stuff exploding, so at least you're going to get your money's worth. And it won't change your life, but at the same time, hey, if you're going for entertainment, Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, rarely does not entertain.
Yes, he's a talented actor, and of course, Jurassic World is not too far off as well. When is that?
Yeah, because who doesn't want to genetically modify dinosaurs together? Because let's face it, traditional dinosaurs, the ones that you can send your kids to learn about in museums, that was all cool. But the moment you start splicing them together and making super dinosaurs, woof, then you start selling tickets to your Jurassic World.
Well, if you have a comment or a question for our guest tonight, we'd love to hear from you. You can give us a call. The number's 347-884-8881. That's 347-884-8881. We'll get you on and get you through. We also have email. You can send us an email. No, I'm sorry. We don't have email anymore. One of these days I'm going to get that right. No more email. However, you can join us in our chat room. Okay?
There you go.
Just go to ComputerAmerica.com under Show Lounge. It's one of the pull-down options in our menu at ComputerAmerica.com. You just click that, or if you hover over it, it'll give you the option to go to the chat room full screen. It's up to you. And it'll ask you, it'll say, want to chat? And you just put in a username. That's the name you'll be known by when you're in there, and chat away with us. We'd love to see you.
Seriously, probably one of the simplest things you can ever do with the chat room. Like it's no more confusing than, I don't know, something very, very simple. Like there's no registering a username, there's no emails, there's no confirmation. Just pop in and join us. That easy.
Yeah, it is. Okay, and love to see you in there. And not only that, not only can you listen to Computer America, but we've now had it for some time. even though we are a radio talk show, we also make live video available, live video streaming. So right from our homepage at computeramerica.com, you'll see it. It's there. And you can click on it to make a larger window if you want to, but you can watch it. And sometimes you can see myself, you can see Ben. Sometimes you can see our guest, whom we've just lost, and hopefully we'll get him back shortly. And if also you can see demonstrations. Ben has the technology to demonstrate different products, services, websites in the background, so you can actually see what's going along. So it just makes it more entertaining for you, our listeners. So, and then again, that's all available at computeramerica.com. Now, what I'm going to suggest, Ben, is while I'm talking to people, you have his phone number and find out what the problem is. You can call him back.
Sure, I'll look that right up and see and track him down.
Yeah, because for some reason he was with us at the beginning of the show. You go ahead and do that. He was with us at the beginning of the show, and then for some reason, he just basically dropped off the face of the planet. And we're going to try to get him back on for us and see what's going on here. Man, if you don't, here's the number. I just sent that to you.
Hey, Craig, I got it. Just try to entertain the folks.
Well, we'll try. All right. So what we're going to be talking about with the first hour is this chat room that's basically, they're billing it as not a chat room, but contact information. And how you use contact information. It's an address book, but a lot different. They're calling it a social address book, and it has some really interesting features to talk about. Now, there's Matt. Okay, so according to our guest tonight, contact information just joined the 21st century. Okay, now Atmosphere is a social address book that allows you to chat and exchange unified contact information with one ID. See, Atmosphere's contacts are always up to date because, and get this, I really like this, your contacts update their information for you. They're updating it, not you. They update their information, so you always know that it's accurate. So if somebody changes the phone number, a month or two from now, they make the change. You have it automatically in your social address book. You don't have to do anything. And that's just one of the features we're going to be talking about. Connect your phone book to manage existing contacts or create new ones in cards that sync instantly with your phone book. This sounds really great. Now, here to explain exactly how this works is Atmosphere's founder and CEO, Matt Cremine. Matt, welcome into Computer America. How are you? You have to unmute yourself, Matt. Okay.
Well, I'm doing all right. I'd rather have the mute problem than the internet problem I just had. So.
Yeah, what happened? We had it all set, and then poof, you were gone.
I don't know. Sounds about right though.
We chalk it up to the wonderful mysteries of the internet and internet technology gods. And if you anger the internet technology gods, all things can go awry. So let's keep them happy. As we go, so you heard my introduction. Basically, Atmosphere is this social. You're billing it as a social address book.
Right.
And why did you decide to create Atmosphere?
Well, I think that first it's the core concept that was, after we started thinking about it, it was something that was kind of undeniable because it didn't exist, and that's the ability to aggregate all this information about yourself, digital information, offline and online information behind a single ID. So what we're trying to do is make you able to connect with somebody and share as much information as you so wish in the same amount of time it may take someone to follow you on Twitter. So it's all about speed, and it's the flexibility of this single ID concept that we like a lot.
Okay, so if you had a mission, really, for this product, what would it be?
Sure. So we think that it's really about simplifying the process of exchanging information, and then simplifying the process of managing contacts going forward. I think the mission up front is, we're the fastest way for you to discover somebody, connect with that person, and then communicate. But at the same time, what our solution does is it really addresses the contact management problem at every stage in contact lifecycle, which is meeting somebody, managing that information, communicating, and then continuing to have accurate information over the life of that relationship.
Okay. Well, so why don't you explain a little bit to our listeners? You heard me, I think, in the introduction. You were with me. I kind of quickly described it. Why don't you tell us and our listeners in your own words what Atmosphere is and what it's about?
Sure. So we're essentially an information network that is so intrinsically social. So if you think about Twitter, to bring them up again, Twitter is a network where you have people that want to broadcast information, and then you have people that want to consume that specific information that's being broadcast. We're something similar, but we're about people that want to share sensitive information about themselves with other people that want to actually have that information. So, what we're doing is allowing people to connect with this ID link layer, and then share as much information about themselves, including social networks, in 10 seconds or less. So, and then ongoing, obviously as you change information or I change information, it stays up to date.
Yeah, that is very interesting and almost unique, that concept, because most calendar or contact information, address books, if you will, they're maintained by the person who owns the phone.
Right.
You make a change, or they make a change to a number, or you want to change some of the notes. I'm making those changes. So are you saying that my contact information now that is kept by Atmosphere is not maintained by me, but by the actual contacts themselves?
That's right. So, we like to say that you yourself can be the last contact you ever have to keep up to date, because over time this address book grows with you, and as I said, it's social, so you're notified when anyone changes anything. You're really the last card you have to worry about, and everybody else's information is delivered to you in their card, which is basically designed for mobile use. So in a single card, you can make a call, send an email, find an address, and if that person changes any of those things in the future, you're notified, and it changes right there where you can use it.
Now, when you're notified, you actually don't have to do anything? It just automatically changed?
Yeah, it updates right there, in the card, which again is designed for you to use right on your phone. So you can get this information in a tap or two, versus digging through. Even in the Apple native phone book, you have to click a couple times and then scroll to the bottom. This is all on a single card, and it's going to update automatically.
So, if a person, let's say they want to delete themselves, does that pull it out of my social contact as well, or is it just changes?
Well, on the Atmosphere side, it's interesting because we give a lot of options. We give the ability for you to control what you're sharing with every person as well. So let me address that up front. I essentially can put all of my information, personal, professional, 22 social networks, whatever I'm on, and each time I connect with somebody in Atmosphere, I can actually choose which level of access that person has to my information. So I could essentially give you something completely different than I give Ben. Two completely different sets of information, the same ID, and my card looks the same to both of you, but you just have access to different things. If you wanted to remove yourself, you could do that, but I could also, obviously sync your information to my native address book, and I'd still have it, just as if you shared a business card with me in the first place. So there's no risk of ever losing any information. It's more about sharing and keeping people up to date.
Okay, which makes a lot of sense. And the fact that I can give different portions of my information to different people. Now, is that something that I can configure right on the app itself, or is that something I have to go online to do, or how?
Right. Yeah. So that's all done in the app, and that was one of our big challenges up front, and it's probably why this hasn't been done before, is designing that for mobile to make it very simple to basically add all this information, attach all this information to your ID and your card, and then pre-label different types of information, under the personal, professional, whatever it may be category. So, one thing that we do completely differently than any social network is we actually give you an option during that connection process to choose how you view this person you're connecting with. So every other social network, it's about connecting two people as quickly as possible. Since we're dealing with sensitive contact information, and since your contacts are all different from your perspective, we give this option where, let's say I can, you're my best friend, I share everything with you, but somebody else is a professional contact, I don't know them that well yet, and I don't want to share my, more personal social networks. I can choose just to share stuff that I've labeled professional to them.
And like that makes sense if you were just using just this. But does this also integrate Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, all that kind of thing as well?
Yeah. So you're able to add those are obviously some of the bigger social networks. You can add all of those to your card. What we think, it's a part of our thesis is that social networks are becoming more and more niche. So some of our most fervent users are actually people that let's say LinkedIn doesn't work well for professionally, right? Like a typical text resume. So creative types who use things like Instagram or Flickr, or a musician who may use SoundCloud as that's their resume, it's their portfolio. They can attach these social networks to their single ID and then share this ID, which could be their name, and whoever they're connected to gets all that information. So we've left this very flexible for how you want to paint the picture of yourself.
Yeah, well, like I was just thinking that you would have to also start to really start organizing your Facebook and your Twitter and all that kind of stuff more so because if this integrates with it, let's say if you have someone as a business contact but you still share your Facebook feed, and then on your Facebook, last Friday night got really crazy and they get to see that, so I guess you also have to get your other social media sites in order for for this to work well.
Right, and again, you can just share a lot of the networks, especially the ones that you share media on, whether it be photos or videos. Those are formatted quite well it doesn't really matter. They're not very private. If I wanted to go see kind of your last X photos on a social network, I could see them. But you still have to choose to connect with that person on Facebook. So if for some reason somebody got your Facebook and you didn't want them to, you don't have to actually become friends with them on Facebook. They'd see the same thing. They'd see if they had just the internet and Google.
Yeah, and that's perfect. But like, this makes so much sense because you're combining so many aspects that people use their phones for already. Just between the address book and the social media, I guess. Like, were you just tired of flipping through 4 or 5 different apps, and you're like, you know what? We can centralize this and just make this so much, quicker, better, and time saving.
Yeah. I mean, I think that a core part of the idea, not to get too much into the story, is, I think the best approach that there's been for a contact management solution was made by Plaxo, and that was 10 to 15 years ago. So since Plaxo was invented, we've seen kind of a mobile revolution. We all have smartphones now, and also kind of a social networking revolution. So these two giant things have occurred that have really changed the mobile ecosystem completely, and nobody's gone back and thought about some of these bigger problems that, probably if you design them correctly and if you use some of the aspects of both these things can be solved. So that's essentially what we're doing.
Perfect. And how? I'm sorry if you went over this, with how the app works, but how does it handle conflicting data? Let's say if you have a contact in there and you have one phone number, and then they share, and then you add them as a contact, and through some other source they want to update their phone number to something else, but it's not the correct number. Like, does it handle conflicting data well, or does it ask you, or something like that?
Sure. So we very intentionally did not make this something that is going to suck in data from other places. And one of the main reasons for that is that a lot of social networks, they've all grown up for their own reasons. Whether it be Facebook, Twitter, that they were created for something that wasn't contact management. So to try to back into using Facebook as an address book now it's something that's not going to happen. So what we've done is, that if you go and you manage your card and you change this information that's labeled professional, only people that you're currently sharing professional information with will get that notification and get the updated phone number. So you're always completely in control, and you don't have to worry about syncing with other networks that are typically full of out-of-date information, because, like I said, they're not used as a contact management tool. So people don't update their phone number there when it changes, or they aren't thinking to change their address when they move. So you see on social networks a lot of times, people's information is 2, 3, 4 years out of date.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys thought ahead like that, because even myself personally, I use social media a lot, and a lot of my information is just so out of date. But there's no incentive. Like on Facebook,
Right.
there's really no incentive to change my address or change my phone number, because
Right.
you just go on there to talk to people.
Right, and if Facebook's a great example. If you go and just go to a contact and see if you have their phone number. First off, you're probably going to have to flip through hundreds of more people than you need to anyway, because you probably only talk to 5 to 10% of the people you're connected to on Facebook, in a manner where you would need a lot of contact information about them. But the second part is, again, Facebook was created for something completely differently. If you wanted to see if you had that information, you'd probably have to tap about 20 times. And then scroll to the bottom and then click about and try to find, just to see if you have a phone number for that person. So just like you said, you hit the nail on the head. There's really no incentive to update it, because people really aren't using Facebook to call you or find your latest address. And that's what we've intended to do. And a lot of people that have approached this problem in the past, that's the one thing that they point out that we're doing better than anyone else, is we're bringing this information to the surface. So if I have Craig's card, if Craig and I are connected, in 2 taps I can see if I have his address. And then I can use that address. I can open it in Maps and get directions to his house. But just the fact that it's there and it's on the surface is like you said, it makes people incentivized to actually keep it up to date.
You've said a couple phrases there that like. Here we have your website up playing on our video portion, but it says there that you can request to enter the beta, and it sounds like you guys have done pretty extensive testing already, from the stories and what people want and what people are liking.
Sure.
Like, was it a long time in alpha, or is your beta, still going?
Yeah. So we, what we'll release here in June is really the 3rd full iteration of the product. And something that we didn't even touch on that we built in this V2, which we'll be releasing, is the ability to engage in multimedia text messaging right inside the app. So, we've seen mobile messengers become incredibly popular over the last 4 or 5 years. What better place to have the ability to engage in messaging than right from your address book? The same place that you can make a call or send an email. Perhaps you just want to engage in a chat. So we built that right inside your address book. We actually had a public a V1, which was a wild success. That we've tacked on 2 major features that we think will turn this and realize our ultimate vision that we had 3 or 4 years ago. It's just taken a lot of time to build these features in, because they're quite big.
I listened to this, Matt, and I wonder a little bit, because I know how I maintain my contacts. I mean, before that, when I had a regular flip phone years ago, before iPhone, basically I had a few addresses, and it was really never maintained. Most of the time I contacted people was using the redial or something along those lines, and that was it. Then the iPhone came along, and that kind of changed the map, and so now I have a fairly comprehensive list of all my contacts in there. But even now, I find that some of them get stale, they get old,
Right.
yet I'm reluctant to get rid of them because I keep saying, well, maybe one day, I might want to contact this person, and
Right.
not that I'm a hoarder in contacts, but sometimes it makes me feel like that because, I have all these, and I'm reluctant because I know the time I'm gonna let it go. That's when I'm gonna need that touch with that person.
Right.
That's my kind of. So it sounds to me like you're addressing some of this.
Well, actually, and what you just said is one of the reasons why we really love the concept in general, and an advantage I think that we have is that it's incredibly sticky because anybody that again, you can use this, without any of the social features. You can sync with your native address book and basically create this card for everybody that's already in your native address book and edit information, add new contacts in a card. It's actually definitely easier to use than your native contacts. But if you make even one connection, it becomes incredibly sticky because just like you said, Craig, you never know when you may need that information. So you're not going to delete something, or you don't want to get rid of something when your friend is essentially saying, I'm offering you this information, you may need it sometime in the future, and I'm going to keep you up to date. And that's one of the reasons we really like this idea of this kind of reverse connection.
Yeah, because again, as I said, and as you're saying too, you delete something that you haven't talked to this person for years. It may be a contractor. It may be somebody that did some service work for you years ago, and you probably not going to. But you in the back of your head say, I might need that guy.
And then one Saturday night, the whiskey hit you just right. And you said, I really want to get back in touch with that contractor.
and it happens quite frequently. And the thing is, and then you go, oh no, they're not on my contact list anymore. I deleted it, 2 days ago or something.
Right.
So does it? Do all these people kind of stay there? I mean, let's say it's somebody I haven't talked to in 3 years. I mean, do those contacts stay in there? And then what prevents it from getting all kludged up again, like what can happen with the regular contacts? How do you maintain that?
Right. So we built in all these things that people talk about all the time, and they're just like, why can't I do this in my native address book? We literally studied this for years and built these features into the app. So you can, basically tag anybody very simply tag people into different groups, and then just re-access your contacts by those groups. So you can, in 2 taps, update your list and customize it for however you want to basically find your contacts. So you don't always need to have every single contact that you have in Atmosphere in a single view. You can actually just shift over and use, only relevant contacts or people you've contacted recently or your favorites. So, yeah, the contractor will be there, but you can access him as easily as you want, and the information will be up to date.
But I don't see him on my every day-to-day. My list isn't going like 3 miles long. In other words, my address contact book is. I just have the people that I'm normally communicating with most on a daily basis.
Sure, you can completely customize it with tagging and favorites and everything else, so that you just have the people that, let's say, you contact on a weekly basis in that list, and that's how we actually see people using it a lot.
Or what if I say, for example, there was that contract I used 4 years ago. I guess it's just an example. It could be anything, but but I forgot that person's name, or how do I? I mean, how do I
send them a really generic text that says, "Hey, you."
How do I find that? Do I tag that person so I can put contractors and all the contractors will come up? I mean, how do I find that person that I haven't talked to in 3 or 4 years, but they're somewhere buried in my contacts list?
Well, if he's in your native contacts, then you'd be able to find him by searching through, in Atmosphere, you could search through all of that information that you have yourself. But if you did meet this contractor out with Atmosphere and he gave you his ID, you'd also be able to search through any of the information that he's currently maintaining for himself. So he'd be easy to find.
Yeah, and I think a lot more effective too, because chances are that contractor I knew 4 years ago has probably changed his phone number now, and this thing is probably just fine. But with something like Atmosphere, I don't have to worry about that, because 3 or 4 years from now he's updated his contact list, and I'm still going to have access to that, even though I haven't done anything, which I really like.
Right, and if your relationship, the context of your relationship with him changes, you can also change your sharing level at any given time. So let's say you became, when you first met the contractor, you weren't so sure about him, so you gave him some subset of information, but then you guys became close because you keep going to the bar, you can actually share more information with them over time.
Okay. And what about people I don't want any more information about? Let's say, people I talked years ago and I really have no interest in talking with them anymore and I just want to delete them. Can I do that? And if I do that, do people on the other end realize that I just deleted them? It's like being unfriended. Not a very friendly thing to do.
No, they don't. They don't. First off, they don't know that you've removed them, and they also never know what you're sharing with them. So you could give a bare bones profile to somebody, and they could think that's all you have. But with every other contact in your contact universe, you could be sharing 15 pieces of information.
Okay. So basically, I'm the one who has control over, not them.
Right. Exactly.
Okay. All right. We've got a lot more questions coming up here, but I find that we're fast approaching the bottom of the hour, Matt. So we'll going to break and then come back to you and continue on. All right?
Sounds good.
All right. You're listening to the Computer America Show. Ben and I are talking to the founder and CEO of Atmosphere, and that's spelled Atmospheir. Atmosphere.
Sphere, as in circle of friends, social, atmosphere.
Atmosphere. And of course, we have the link at our website at computeramerica.com. Coming up, a brand spanking new News Tips Bulletin Review from Marty Winston. Looking forward to that, too. You're listening to the Computer America Show. We're going to be right back with Matt after these words. Stay with us. This is Computer America.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-866-663-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So, disable the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99 and up to 4 rooms. And there's no equipment to buy. That includes your free HD TV upgrade, your free DVR upgrade, and your free professional installation. And the best part, the pristine digital picture and sound. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV. So, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV. 1-866-663-MY-TV. Disable the cable, cut costs, and get more. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV. 1-866-663-MY-TV.
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they are available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
Weren't you supposed to bring me donuts? Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time the EcoSmart Mini 1 water heater. Many a home office is located nowhere near the bedrooms, and sometimes not even inside the walls of the house. Maybe in or over an attached or unattached garage or in an outbuilding. If you put in a sink and expect it to get hot water, go ahead, turn on the faucet when you get to work, and by lunchtime, the distant hot water tank may be able to push those gallons of cooled water through the pipes to get to your sink. All of those gallons in the pipes, of course, get filled by the output of the hot water tank before the first hot water reaches you. That aggravating inefficiency led us to EcoSmart Green Energy Products, who sent their Mini 1 electric mini tank water heater for review. It's about as small as a third grader's backpack, so it can easily mount under a sink. and its 1.5-gallon tank is plenty for things you do at a sink. It plugs into a standard 110-volt grounded AC outlet. It uses up to 12 amps when heating, so do make sure the feeder circuit can handle that. A top side knob adjusts the thermostat setting to define how hot between 50 and 140 degrees Fahrenheit you want your hot water. It tells you when it's heating and a green one when it's ready. You can put it on a timer so it doesn't run when you're not there. Full recovery from a cold start takes about 8 minutes. At 13 cents a kilowatt hour, that costs about 2.5 cents. Bottom line, an EcoSmart Mini 1 water heater can waste less energy and less of your time when bringing hot water to where you haven't had it before. Marty Winston, News Tips Bulletin for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. That was Marty Winston with now using strange units of measurements. I did not know that a third grader's backpack was a standard unit, but assuming everyone knows how big a third grader's backpack is, the water heater is about that big, so that's good.
And evidently we were supposed to bring him donuts.
Yeah, that too. And I guess we're just not lucky that he's like, oh, it gets about as warm as 2 small dogs wrapped in about 3 wool blankets on a warm summer day. It gets about that warm. Whatever. Okay, very cool review. Thank you, Marty Winston, for that News Tip Bulletin review. But right now we are talking to Mr. Matt Cremine. He is the founder and CEO of Atmospheir, as we've said before, and we're discussing all about the app. And you said that this is really the third version of this product that you've released, and I guess what has been the hardest part of making an app like this? And I'm already thinking that it's adding all the different features and kind of saying, okay, that's enough, guys. Like, you guys keep adding. Like, okay, what is the hardest part of making the app?
Yeah, it's I think it's probably the same story that you get whenever you make something that's approaching a problem like this for mobile, and it's packaging these features into a mobile interface that remains very simple, and that's what I think. The app itself with the single ID and card design, I think that's one of its intrinsic advantages. So it's really packaging those features in a way, because it does so many things, but on the surface it's very clear that up front all you have to do is share this ID to share all your information, and you can tap right here to chat. And so keeping that simple is really always the challenge with mobile.
So you got all this to work in there. Like, what aspects of before even that, my brain's everywhere. iOS and Android, or just iOS?
Yeah, so it's iOS first. We have the Android product in development. It's one of those things where, with the features sometimes shifting around and optimizing based on some of the feedback we've gotten in our large beta, we want to basically have that set in stone, or as close to set in stone as possible, before transitioning over and closing off the Android product, because you obviously have to design for a lot of additional screen sizes with Android. With iPhone, it's I think 4 now max, but with Android you're looking at up to 30 screen sizes. So it's easier if you have the product kind of set in stone. From a high level at least where things are going to be.
Perfect. And go ahead, Greg.
Well, no, I mean you're talking. This is really an interesting product, and I'm just curious. What feature do you think most users are going to be attracted to once they begin using it?
All right. So up front, it's I wouldn't have known the answer before the beta, but I could have guessed, and it's certainly what most people talk about as the big pain point. I hate writing down all this information that I know is probably going to change. If we all spent as much time as needed to keep our contacts up to date, we'd probably lose a couple hours every day. So just with Atmosphere, all I need is your ID, which could be, mine's Matt. So with 4 letters, I can share unlimited information with you. That's going to remain up to date over time. So it's this ability to basically share information and receive information in a couple keystrokes versus actually writing it down manually that people love. And then on top, the next thing which keeps people really engaged is the chat that we've built. As I said, without leaving what you can use as an address book, you can chat with all of your contacts, business and personal, and it brings people back because people really like messengers.
Interesting. I I would have thought the fact that it maintains itself would have been the primary. That was the thing that kind of grabbed my interest because maybe because it's me with all these old contractors I keep bringing up, but the fact that I don't
Well,
have
that's cool, but just at face value, like sharing contact information, admittedly very useful, but it's not that engaging. Chat is totally engaging. Social media totally engaging. Like those are reasons that you'll keep coming back to this app, and it may have started with a way to organize your contacts and sort people out and keep in contact with people, but I would not be shocked that this thing really turned into another form of social media that was just more integrated into your contacts.
But you can't chat with somebody if you don't know how to contact them, and that was my point. Is that if you haven't been with them in a while, and then at least you can chat with them because you're fairly secure in knowing that if they make any changes, I'm going to be able to stay in touch with them.
Yeah, and look, and it's far more personal, right? We open up that I guess line of communication immediately. If I meet you at a conference and I get your business card, first off, if I don't lose that thing, which there's a good chance I will, I have to get back to my desk. I have to open my phone. I have to send you an email. If we connect in Atmosphere, I have all that information already digitally stored somewhere I can use it again. But we also open up this line of communication with our chat for me just to say hello. And I think if you look at some statistics on what makes a contact valuable, the sooner that you get in touch with that contact, the more valuable that contact is. So that's why the engagement thing is huge for us. But at the same time, it's also the chat is huge for users as well because it makes their contacts more valuable.
Well, yeah. Are you saying so? Basically, if I meet somebody for the first time at a conference or anything, and all I need, I have to get what? Their ID?
That's it. Yeah.
If I get their ID, at least I can put that in my phone while I'm there, and then I'm done. If I don't get their ID, there's no way for me to find them. Is there a way for me to search for John Doe?
Sure. If you have the app, you can of course search. Somebody's name. You can find them later just by searching for their regular name.
Okay.
But the ID just makes the distribution a lot faster.
But does that ID change? In other words, if I have one ID, but let's say again, I have personal information. Do I have a personal ID that I give out to my personal people, a professional ID I give out to my professional contacts, or do I have different IDs? How do I maintain that?
Pretty sure it's all in one.
It's all in one. That's the trick, and that was a very difficult thing to develop for. It's all in one. So all you need is this single ID, and you can choose, like I said up front, what each person gets in terms of the underlying information.
Okay, so let's say I get this ID from this new contact, and I don't really know too much about them, but I want them to be able to cut. So I give them my ID, or he gives me his ID.
Either way, it works either way because.
So if I give him my ID, how do I control the fact that I'm giving my ID that he doesn't see all my really personal information?
Because if you give him your ID, he has to basically just use that ID, and then he clicks connect with you, and he chooses up front how he views you. So maybe he thinks you're a personal contact, and he just wants to share personal. So he actually, before you even say yes or no that you accept it, he chooses what he'd like to share, and then you get notified that so and so wants to connect with you, and then you can share everything or share personal or professional or some subset of information back.
So it's in that initial contact where you kind of draw the line as to what he or she is going to be able to see about you.
Right, and this is an interesting concept that I usually don't talk about too much because it, maybe over the head of how people are thinking about it. But the ID itself is is the most interesting thing because it's a link layer between us. So as our relationship grows or grows apart, I can take information away, I can change information underlying, and you're updated. It's the ID that maintains the connection between us. The other interesting thing is that the ID, you can change that ID at any given time. Let's say somebody finds out that you don't want them to know about it. You can change that ID, and all the people you're already connected to, the ID will just change. It works both ways for them, but other people can't find you by your old ID.
Okay, well, so it's not like a social security number then. You don't have that. You're not branded with that for life. Okay, all right. So,
and it's an interesting concept though, because a lot of social networks marry you to an email address or a phone number that's likely to change.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this could be the ultimate black book. You know, if I'm heavy into dating, I mean, it can have all the ones, and then when when I'm dumping or I'm being dumped, one or the other. But the point is, you can take them away, and they'll never know it, and they have no way of reaching you again.
Right, exactly.
Well, you really, you can take this to the extreme, I guess.
It's a lot of. First off, you said when or if I was heavy into dating. Come on, Craig.
No, I'm married now, so.
No, you can. It's very flexible both ways. You can. It's interesting because you're actually able to share more information faster with a single ID, but it also affords you more privacy because you can control what you share, and you can also change that link layer at any given time without breaking the connection to all the people you've already established a connection with. If you want to.
That's very nice. Yeah, exactly.
All right, I got one. Okay, what about if okay, can it scan your contact book and let's say look for names or numbers and then try to sync them up with maybe others that already have Atmosphere and try to make connections for you or make suggestions or make connections automatically, or let's say they don't have it, can you invite them?
Yeah, so that's exactly what it does actually, but it doesn't force you, or it doesn't automatically make them an Atmosphere connection. So if you sign up and you sync your address book, we're going to tell you anybody that is in your address book that has already signed up with their phone number. So it would, when you first get the app, it would say, it would give you a list of, let's say, 10 people that already have Atmosphere, and then you can kind of go down that list and choose, if you want to connect with each person, and then if you do want to connect, what you want to share with them.
So let's say you're using this for, let's say Ben wants to use this for friends of his, and Ben is a gaming enthusiast. Let's say he wants to keep a track of all the different people he, interacts with this for games. He could have different categories, like these are all my World of Warcraft friends. These are all my Call of Duty friends, that type of thing, and never.
These are my Halo homies. These are my WoW buddies.
Exactly.
Right, and the interesting thing that we're just at the beginning of, because we're just releasing this initial version of 2.0, is that, like I said before, with niche networks, right now we have 22 networks you can add to your card. But eventually, this is something people can use. Speaking of gaming, you have a Microsoft Xbox ID, you have an ID on PlayStation, and maybe you want to share that with your 100 friends that you're connected with and sharing personal information in Atmosphere. You can just add that to your Atmosphere card, and they are immediately notified without you having to send an email and find 100 email addresses and say, hey, this is where I'm at now, find me. You basically just add it to your card, and they just have to travel to your card, and it's there. So it's very interesting. A lot of people that have given us some of the most positive feedback are actually bloggers and people that are often jumping onto new social media platforms, and they spend a lot of their time going through, 3 times a day, tweeting out on Twitter, "Are you following me yet on Pinterest?" And it's a hassle, and it's time consuming. So with Atmosphere, you can just add Pinterest to your card, and all of these people that you've taken the time to establish as a connection will be notified.
That's very nice. So especially when you're interacting with people like that, but from a distance, the gaming scenario I just gave is a good idea.
This seems really nice because one of the hardest things with a new social media venue, is that the community, like when it first starts out, there really isn't anything there. Like there's no new content, there's no people to connect with. Like it's I love you Google, I use you all the time, but that's kind of what happened with Google Plus. Sure, they're still out there, but like there's a complete lack of interest because no one is really on there. But Atmosphere is really taking that out because you're integrating so many things that people aren't just going to go just because it's a social media venue, but also because it can manage your contacts, it can find new people. It's a messaging app. Like you're filling out the people problem with social media by just adding everyone you already know.
Right.
Which is nice.
Anytime you join a new social network, if you're just a regular consumer, you join that network and it's really not valuable to you until you establish some number of connections or your friends find you on it. So you either go through this painstaking process of telling everybody where you are and messaging or sending out an email, or with Atmosphere, you can essentially just you take the time, you add your ID or your URL, whatever it is, to your Atmosphere card, and then everybody's notified that you're there and you're using this new app. And I'm looking at your lower third here, Craig, and you have Google Plus, you have your Twitter, your Facebook. It's interesting because brands as well, we think have a very interesting use case here. With our public V1, we saw magazines signing up and making cards, and it wasn't really made. V1 wasn't made for brands. So we're making a bet that there's going to be a continual evolution of social networks and new places that you can showcase your brand or you as a person. And right now you just have these 4 here, but with Atmosphere you could essentially share your ID, and everybody that takes the time to connect with you in Atmosphere is a more valuable connection going forward, because as you join the next Pinterest or the next Facebook, and you add that to Atmosphere, all of those people are automatically updated and your presence on that new network is established a lot faster.
Very interesting. Yeah.
Like let's say that when you first established some connections, you were only on Facebook and Twitter, but as you grew and as you went out, you can then, I guess, increase your audience on, let's say, if you're a musician now and you want to share your SoundCloud, people who used to follow your band can now automatically start getting SoundCloud updates from you.
Right, and at the very least, you can just add that, and they now know you're there, and so all of these people that are either your friend or like your band can find your presence on that network much faster.
Very nice, very nice.
It is. All right, so I know we've been talking about it, and I just want to focus a little bit more down, or drill a little bit down. So, with all the things that we were talking about, how do you think Atmosphere is going to change the way people use their contacts? I mean, change the landscape, I guess, of contact management and mobile communication technology. What do you think that we are headed here?
Sure. I mean, I think the low-hanging fruit there for us, and we've had numerous successful and fairly pretty easy conversations with conferences or anywhere events where people gather and meet new people and want to exchange information to keep in touch. We're such a natural fit for these type of things. So we've been very focused on building out the product. But as our attention turns to sales and rollout and distribution, basically anywhere where you go and you meet new people and you want to be able to establish some sort of connection that's lasting, Atmosphere is a really easy tool to use. At any conference, a feature that I didn't even mention, we integrate Bluetooth Low Energy. You can flip on, Discover. A Discover switch, and anybody within 50 meters pops up in that view.
That's nice.
It's really cool. I mean, if you're in a boardroom and you don't want to take down 10 IDs, if that takes too much time, you can just flip a switch and add 10 people right there, and then flip it back off if you want to go invisible. So.
Wow. Okay. So a lot of hidden features that we really haven't even discussed yet. Those are nice.
It seems well thought out. We've only been talking about it for an hour, but it shows that you guys have really put a lot of effort into this.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons that we really have liked the space so much is that it's something, it's one thing that's not going to go away. The need to maintain relationships and manage your contacts, and it's actually a problem that's getting worse as more options come about. So every day there's a new social network you can be on. There's a new burner phone number type thing where you can create phone numbers for a week or two or a month. It's a harder problem every passing day, and so we really like the space for that reason, because it's something that can continue to evolve, and everything that we put into the app, we think first, will this help people connect faster with people they want to connect with?
And that's basically the underlying theme of
Right.
what you're hoping to accomplish with this. So you're going to be coming just out of beta, and
You said this month, right?
Right. So we will be live in the Apple App Store this in June, probably mid-June. We're actually working with them right now around what that date will be. But we will quickly, over the first month or two that we're out, be improving some of the features that I've mentioned here, and actually expanding on them in a couple different ways that are very interesting. So we'll be on Apple in the App Store in June, and we're hoping to have the Android product out by later in the summer or sometime in Q4.
Are there any other apps that are competing with you that you're? I just know of a couple.
All of them, from what we've heard.
Well, I come from my. I think there's one out there called Viber, Viber. There's a number that are trying to make contacts. I don't know if you're familiar with any of these, Matt.
Yep.
Do you have any competition, you think, at this point?
Well, I think that Viber, if you look at any of the messaging app, Viber was a pure messaging application in the beginning, as was WhatsApp. There's a couple others. If you look at what they've done recently, just little tweaks to their interface, they're actually building backwards into adding things that are more contact management related, into the profile. So it goes to show that it's a need for people. WhatsApp, purely an OTT messaging application, but they made it easier to find a person's phone number that you're chatting with. So, from that perspective, if you have chat in your app, you always are competing on some level with other chat applications. But the difference with Atmosphere, I think, we mentioned this in the beginning, is the intrinsic stickiness of the fact that it's underlying it is truly social. If I had WhatsApp or Viber and I deleted it tomorrow, I actually don't lose anything. I'm not at risk at losing anything if I don't have it for a month, and then in a month I re-download and use my phone number to go back in and start chatting with people again. But with Atmosphere, you don't want to do that because, again, people are actually sharing updates about critical information about themselves with you. It's an address book. It's personal. It's something that you can't really afford to lose. So that's why we think that what we're doing is very different. Sure, we are competing in some degree in a couple different places, but no one has really kind of meshed the features that we've meshed together in one place.
Well, again, it sounds like you really are onto something here, and you really, as Ben said, you really thought this through. I realize that you're just coming, into your own this month, but if you were to project a little bit down the road, what would you like to see next for Atmosphere? So
I think that I think that what we'll be monitoring pretty closely over the next 3 to 6 months, obviously, is that upfront engagement and user growth. It's a little bit of a difficult question because of the fact that we do have such a large beta right now. Mm-hmm. And they are very engaged. So it's something that we're very excited to kind of take the lid off and allow people to share this publicly and use their address book, as Ben mentioned earlier, to invite people that aren't on it and basically make the app more valuable. The engagement numbers that we've seen are extremely appealing to us because we've kind of capped how many people each person can bring into the app. Mm-hmm. And the app it's built to be more valuable as you get more people in the app.
Is it going to be free, or is it going to be a charge for Atmosphere?
It'll be free. It'll be completely free.
And you're taking off the caps, the limits, is what you're saying?
Yeah. So when it's public, we've been it's a private beta, so we've, every time we update it or allow kind of expand the number of users that are on the platform, it's a lot of work on our end. When it's in the App Store, it'll be a lot easier to release these updates.
So it's free and everything. How are you going to monetize this? Advertise? What?
It won't be advertising like you may be thinking of it. First,
we only have about 30 seconds, so
there are a number of things that I can't talk about right now. There are some things we've discussed with telecoms that are pretty interesting, but we think that the future of advertising is actually more personal. So we touched a little bit on brands and the ability to create a more public brand card. So if brands do create cards, they can actually message and broadcast personally with people.
I can see how that can happen. Matt,
yep.
We're pretty much out of time. Really, though, I want to thank you for being with us here. I'd love to have you back, in a little time to see how things are going with Atmosphere.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
It really seems to be something that is incredibly useful. And again, you can go to computeramerica.com right on our homepage. We have a link to Atmosphere, their website, and that's going to stay up for all time. And you can also listen to this interview and watch the video at your own leisure. Matt, thank you so much for being with us here tonight on Computer America. It was a lot of fun.
All right, Craig. Thank you. Thanks, Ben.
All right.
Thank you for joining us. Can't wait to try it out for myself.
All right. Let's connect.
Okay. Good night. All right. Bye-bye. All right, you're listening to the Computer America Show. We've got computer and technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. Another brand spanking new news tips, polls, review from Marty Winston. That's all coming up in hour 2 of Computer America.
Broadcasting live, it's the only national radio talk show on computers to air every weeknight. Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. The first hour's behind us, but there's still more of tech news, tech talk, and your phone calls. We're being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. You got computer problems? Bring them on. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@computeramerica.com.
Hello and welcome into hour 2 of the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. This is the Computer America Show, and I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And we just had the founder and CEO of Atmosphere, Matt Cremine, here on the program. I really think that this is a cool messaging chat room app, contact management. I mean, some sort of label on it.
It's funny that you say that because it really is. It's a messaging, contact, social feed, networking app. Like, it's all 4 of those things rolled into one, and it looks really, really slick. Looks very, very nice.
And gives you complete control. I really like the fact that you allow your contacts to have as much contact with you as you want, without them, hurting anybody's feelings or anything. You can basically control, and all you need is your one ID number, which you can even change later on if you need to do so, and that won't affect anybody else. Everybody else will still maintain, only the people you don't want them to know anymore.
Yeah, just like you said, it was that whole. There's like a second layer in there where really your contact information is more sent to it's more updated to Atmosphere, and that'll get you that'll get you all of your contact information. You update it there, and then it sends out to everyone, and then they update their contact information, and that gets sent to Atmosphere. And really, they're just the intermediary, and that keeps everything up to date, fresh. You don't have to worry about dead contacts and things like that.
That's such a problem for me too. The dead contacts. I mean, I was kidding about the contacts.
I hate it when my contacts die, and then you have to go to funerals, send a flower. Oh.
I know, and you never know that it happened. Or it's people you haven't talked to in years, and it's not only contractors, but people like that, and you're holding on to it because you figure, oh, I might need it, and then of course, then when you need them, they're no longer there. So something with Atmosphere is going to eliminate that kind of a problem. And anyway, it's atmosphere.com, and you can check out the link at computeramerica.com if you want more information. I'm sure we'll have Matt back again in a few months to see
Oh
how
yeah, see how he's doing.
doing. Okay, we'll put him in our Atmosphere contact list, so we'll have him there. All right. So anyway, we have hour 2 of the Computer America show. You know what I missed? Today I knew there was something. Ben, I'm ashamed to say it, but I missed the Worldwide Developer Conference today.
Yeah, I've been looking at that. They announced quite a few things.
Yeah, and
I can't believe you missed it.
I can't believe it either. But I had a whole bunch of things I had to do today, and got totally caught up in what I was doing, and didn't realize.
But luckily,
Yes.
did you know?
Yes.
We live in the age of the internet.
Yes,
where you can go back and watch all of the keynotes.
I plan to tonight after the show is over. I'm going to actually watch the 2-hour keynote.
So does that mean you want like no spoiler alerts, because we have a few stories?
That's okay. I'm fine with spoilers.
Okay, you're okay with spoilers for the WWDC. Got it.
Yes, I am. But so again, the Worldwide Developer Conference from Apple was today, and I did miss it, but I will catch it. Just a couple of interesting notes. E3 is coming up. The big gaming.
Yes, next week.
Next week, and we have been in touch with our correspondent, Nathan Evans, who is the managing editor for PopZara magazine. He's going to be out there. Josh Boykin's going to be out there. A number of people are going to be out there, and we have arranged to glean from them live coverage from the E3 event. And we're going to bring that to you, our listeners at computeramerica.com. So if you're into games, not only are we going to have the normal fair, computer gaming fair, because this is going to be the second Tuesday of the month. Josh Boykin's going to be joining us talking about what's popular, E3. We have a whole bunch of things that we're going to be talking with him on tomorrow night's show. But in addition to that, Josh is also going to be out there along with Nathan Evans on this, and on the 17th of this month, that's when we're really going to do all our E3 coverage with Nathan Evans and some of his colleagues. So we are planning to cover as much about all the breaking news that goes on in E3. If you're into games, we're certainly going to bring all of that to you here at Computer America. Okay, that said, we have, as I mentioned, we have a news tips bulletin review from Marty Winston. What's he going to talk about in the second hour? The first one was
I have no idea.
Yeah, the Echo Smart Mini 1 was what he talked about in the first hour, and in the second hour, he's going to be talking about the Brinks padlock device. This looks interesting. Okay. All right. So if you're ready, let's. Anything else you want to do before we start doing our news segment?
No. I think we should jump right into it.
Let's just jump ahead then. Here we go. Tonight's computer and technology news is brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. You can visit them at slimwareutilities.com to clean, speed up, and optimize your Windows system for free. That's right. Everything at slimwareutilities.com, we're happy to say, is completely free. They're not freemium models. You don't use them for a week or two and then they hit you. None of that stuff. They're all free. We invite you to download all of them, keep them on your hard drive. Sooner or later, you're going to need them. And when you do, you'll be happy that you did, and you'll thank us for it. slimwareutilities.com. And I'm going to take the first story. Of all the places in the world where would you like to live? Can you guess why it would be cool to live in Helsinki?
The Helsinki women.
Well, possibly.
They are a stunning bunch.
I'm sure they are, but that's not necessarily why. Because if you live in Helsinki, you get free citywide Wi-Fi network access that, get this, is faster than your home internet. That's right, faster than your home internet. This according to courts. Basically, now, obviously, many cities offer free Wi-Fi hotspots, but we're not talking about that. If you go to the Finnish capital of Helsinki, there is a free hotspot almost everywhere in the city that you need one. It's fast enough to allow video calling and high definition streaming, and it does not require a reading of lengthy terms of conditions. You don't need a password. You don't have to divulge your age, your gender, email, none of that stuff. Because Helsinki doesn't want your identity or your money or your data. The only warning before you hit accept basically is a reminder that public networks are insecure. So be careful out there, okay? All it wants to do is
it's an open network, and when you connect to it, any hacker, anyone who may want to get into your information is also going to have access to the exact same network you connect on. But that doesn't mean it's insecure. It just means that you have to be more careful. If you just set everything to private, set up your passwords, you'll be fine, and you get the benefit of getting very, very high internet, very, very high internet speeds anywhere in the city, which is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, you can set up a VPN, so you
set up a VPN, set up your protections, especially if you're on any kind of mobile device. They're very easy to set up. Do all that stuff, and this is awesome. Yay, Helsinki.
Yeah. Now, the result of everything they've done out there is not necessarily a blanket coverage, but basically wherever there is a building or a space controlled by the city, you got Wi-Fi. And evidently,
they said that the whole idea was concocted up by Helsinki Business Hub, which is an organization that promotes Helsinki. And what they were thinking was that if their citizens or people visiting their city had access to internet, then they'd be more productive. They'd be able to send and receive pictures, maybe attract people. It's like, hey, check out this new coffee spot I'm at, and you can send pictures of the coffee shop. Like, it makes people more social, more friendly, more productive. Let's say you really need to send off the email, and you could just go up to any building, connect to the free Wi-Fi, and send it off. That's their idea of forward thinking, is free internet for the whole city. It's going to make everything better, which I, again, being here on Computer America, I may be biased, but heck, internet everywhere, I can't see a downside to not being more productive.
Yeah, well, you know why Helsinki's able to do this, and you can't do this in New York or London or some other place. It's because, partly because the way the government in Finland is run. Okay, they have powers of taxation. Basically, the residents pay a municipal tax of 18.5% of their income in addition to national income tax.
Yeah.
So they're really, I don't know necessarily if I want to live.
That's a fun little fact of all these Nordic countries that a lot of people like to overlook. They have a lot of forward-thinking social movements, but at the same time, they're taxed at an incredibly high rate. And not to get into politics and types of government, but yes, they're taxed at about 20% of their income at the state level, but then at the nation level, they're probably taxed another 20%. So about half of every paycheck is just taken right off the top and gone to taxes.
Yeah.
But the trade-off you get is a lot of these countries get free college education. Like, you don't have to pay a cent to go to college and get an education. You get nice little perks like this. You get great trash collection. You get free Wi-Fi throughout cities. Like, you get a lot of perks, but you're getting taxed about 50%. So there's a trade-off.
But there's one odd thing about this, and according to this article here, they're saying that most Helsinkians, I guess that's what they call a person who lives in Helsinki, a Helsinkian. Okay.
Makes sense.
Yeah. They don't have much need for free Wi-Fi. Because they get a very generous data allowance from their mobile operators. So which basically costs about $40 a month. A Finnish phone subscriber will get 50 gigabytes of high-speed data. That's 25% higher than Estonia, who was in second place, and more than 10 times as much as the EU median.
Who knew Estonia would be on the high side of mobile data?
And they don't even have...
Go for it. Go Estonia.
Yeah, they don't have Helsinki women there either.
No, they're on the internet.
No, they are. So
Go
basically,
ahead, Google it. Helsinki women. Do it. You
exactly.
won't regret it.
I'm sure not. So basically, because of this amazing these data plans that they get, they're saying that they really don't need this free Wi-Fi that they, because of their cell phones, and I guess they can tether it or they can do whatever they want to. They can get internet access virtually anywhere where they get cell phone reception. Still, it's nice to have it.
Really, the biggest benefit though.
Yeah.
Let's say you're visiting Helsinki. Maybe Helsinki was on your list, and you don't have an EU carrier because I'm from the US. So why would I have a contract with an EU carrier? Go to Helsinki. Don't even have to worry about it. You have free Wi-Fi all over the place. It works itself out. It's a great way to draw people to the city, and heck, maybe even draw business to the city because companies, especially internet-based companies, would really like that.
I don't know. It sounds interesting. Certainly an interesting plan. I still don't think I'd like to live there. Maybe visit, not live there.
What's wrong with Helsinki?
The taxes are way too high. You heard.
But you get okay. Well, that this is borderline getting into again different types of government, but you get so many perks. You don't have to pay for your health care. So, like everything that you have to pay for out of hand or out of pocket, like dental, health care, car insurance, Wi-Fi, you don't have to pay for any of that. It comes out in your taxes, and then at the end of the day, the rest of your income you pretty much get to live off of. Like everything's taken care of.
Very cool. All right. Well, maybe it's the way to go.
To each their own, and you can't argue numbers. Like you can argue taxation all day long and what benefits, but you can't argue numbers. And the cost per capita for all these things is much lower in these Nordic countries. So they're doing something right. I'm not saying it would work here in America, but they have it going on over there. And Helsinki, free Wi-Fi, check them out.
Okay. All right.
Speaking of weird places to have good internet, this actually leads into a pretty good segue from Ars Technica. Mr. John Brodkin, not related to Josh Boykin, John Brodkin says that for about $400 a month, there's your tax right there, Craig. For about $400 a month, you can get 10 gigabits per second in Vermont.
10 gigabits per second for $400 a month. That's pretty darn good, actually.
That's let's see. I think the best prices I've heard are Google Fiber, and they'll give you 1 gig up and down for, let's see. I believe their lowest cost fiber plan was about $80 a month. So for about 5 times the cost, you get 10 times the speed. Now, admittedly, most people don't need 10 gigs, and most people definitely will not pay $400 a month for it. But the option's there in Vermont.
Yeah.
It's
downtown bustling Vermont. Why did they bring this to Vermont of all places?
Well, here's the fun thing. It's only done through the rural telco that only services Vermont. And for those of you who don't want to spring for the 10 gigabits per second line, they have a 1 gigabit, same speed as Google Fiber, a 1 gigabit option for $60 a month.
That's not bad.
That's not bad, but again, let's everyone pull out your phone bills and your internet bills and compare this to what you're getting now.
Yeah.
With 1 gig for $60, I know we're paying about twice that for about what, 1/50th of that.
Yeah, it is. It's doggedly slow compared to that. Is that up and down 2 gigabit, or is that?
Yes, it's a fiber network, and it's up and down.
Wow.
Yep. And again, this is only in Vermont. It's through Vermont Telephone. If you've ever heard of them, and if you haven't, that's because you don't live in Vermont telephone service area. Yeah. And they're already selling symmetrical gigabit internet residents for just $59.95. Yep, a nickel cheaper than $60 a month, which is, again, of course, a better deal than Google Fiber. They have a customer base of about 18,000 homes. Springfield, I'm sorry, 18,000 customers around Springfield, Vermont, and they're being converted from copper to fiber thanks to substantial help from the federal government.
Wait, there's a catch.
Hmm?
There's a catch here with VTEL.
Yeah, yeah,
They have a data cap.
yeah. Do they though?
2.5 terabytes a month.
Well, let's see. They said they're lenient when enforcing it, so I'm sure if you hit the 2.7 terabytes, they're not going to come and bust down your door and say, "Hey, cut that out."
Yeah.
But 2.5 terabytes, they obviously don't want you running any kind of server farm out of your Vermont home.
Which you could
But
with that space.
yeah, no, 10 gigs will get you a long distance, especially if you're trying to share an inordinate amount of data. But 2.5 terabytes, that will get you around town and around town again with anything that a normal person would need to do.
Yeah.
So, honestly, I don't have a problem with 2.5 terabytes cap because that's very, very generous.
Yeah, that's a lot of movies.
Oh, tons of movies, tons of movies.
Yeah. You'd be in Netflix heaven.
Yeah. So they said that their standalone gigabit plan costs about $60 a month, as we said before. It charges even less, about $54.95 for gigabit internet bundled with a phone service. So for $5 less, you get free phone service. Yeah, and though there are more fees applied to phone service and broadband, however, which would change the full price. So, oh, my bad. So the internet comes down, but then you have to start paying for phone. But hey, some people, they like phone. Though at 10 gigs, set up a Skype line and a phone number and just call it a day. Like a voice over IP, if everyone had 10 gigs up and down, voice over IP would be completely viable forever. That's not even a problem. So yeah, the article kind of goes into how the gigabit fiber that Google deploys, they're popping up all over the place. They're only in a few areas and a few markets. And if you hadn't heard, even Comcast is considering. I'm sorry, not even considering at this point. They're going to start rolling out their new 2 gigs service, which has already been trumped by the prestigious Vermont telephone company. So yeah, no, that's about it. They have a 1,700-mile optical fiber network, and yeah, they said they hope to eventually cap out at 100 gigs a second.
We don't get Comcast here, do we, in this area?
Yes, we do.
We do.
We do.
Maybe we should.
But they promise to get their 2 gigs per second network up and running by either late 2016 or early 2017. So
we'll be out of here by then.
We'll be out of here.
Yeah, exactly.
But regardless, Vermont Telephone. Who knew? Vermont, oasis of the great internet.
Yeah, Vermont. Kudos to Vermont.
And they said that it was all thanks to a government grant. It's been shown, again, talking about numbers, it's been shown that places with great internet connections and great internet networks, we're seeing this right now in Colorado, all over the place. If you invest in your infrastructure, businesses will come and set up shop in places with great infrastructure because they need it. In this day and age, businesses need a good internet infrastructure. Like, it will draw people to your city. And I'm sure Vermont is hoping for the exact same thing.
Yeah. Or having hot Helsinki women. Either one will bring them.
Exactly. But again, while the women go there, they have free Wi-Fi. They don't need that.
Exactly. All right. Ben and I are doing Computer and Technology News, brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. And, well, we could do this one. But I actually want to do this from Engadget. There are a lot of, what's the name of the organization that it's the Film Preservation Society, that they don't want you to colorize, black and white movies of old.
Yeah, the people with the giant stick up there, but yeah, no, they want to keep the films in pristine original condition.
Right. They want how people used.
They're purists.
Right. Yes. They don't want the colorizing the. Woody Allen was involved with that. Still is, I guess. He's very, very well. Okay. So anyway, now shift that same content over to something else that we may care about, and that's video games. Classic.
We like video games.
Yes. Well, evidently, there's a studio wants to preserve video games with the same care as movies. So basically, Digital Eclipse is the name of the studio. Thinks the video industry can do a better job of preserving classics like I don't know, uh, Mega Man and the Criterion Collection. Um, so I guess
Oh no, the Criterion Collection is actually the organization you were looking or that you were talking about earlier. They're
movies.
the ones who who do for movies.
Okay, so what titles of games? Because it doesn't mention the titles of the games.
Well, it says that its inaugural edition, because this is just starting, is going to be the Mega Man Legacy Collection,
Okay.
which is the first 6 Mega Man games, which are all side scrollers, primarily released in Japan. Very, very old, but really one of the first, you know, really good video games that kind of capture a lot of people. So I'm sure the original Mortal Kombat's going to be in there. I'm sure Contra, like a lot of the older games that are landmarks are going to be introduced to this.
Well, what about Space Invaders? I remember Space Invaders were like
Oh yeah, for sure.
very first.
Pac-Man, Space Invaders, Centipede.
I remember when I actually remember the news talking about Space Invaders when it was just coming out and it was just hitting the video arcades, a new type of game rather than pinball, and it basically did set the video game.
But like it's also about what landmark, but it's also about preservation of games, because not every one of these titles that is going to be introduced is going to be a part of everyone's childhood. They're hoping to make a place that they can store these games and they'll be protected forever. Like if ever there was some kind of apocalyptic video game wipeage, then this one repository is going to have all of these great games that's really, because let's face it, old hardware and old software often gets thrown by the wayside. How
Yes.
many of you still have your Norton 3 box that your Windows 98 computer came with?
But
Like old
but-
software just isn't preserved.
yeah, but we do have emulators that will preserve them. For example, I haven't run in a little while, but I have an Apple II emulator on my Mac, so I can run all the games and stuff that was originally available on the Apple II. I can still simulate the Apple II computer in my current computer. There are emulators out there that will basically simulate the machines that are really no longer available to play these games. I'm assuming that's what they're doing, or how you play.
They're doing something really similar to that, but they don't even want to do that. They want to go a step further, because just preserving the data is one thing, because hey, it's data. You can put it on a floppy drive, you can put it on a CD, you can put it on DVD, you can put it on a thumb drive. You'll always have it. But they want to keep it in the original format as possible. So they want it with let's say it was a cartridge game. They want it in the original cartridge. Let's say it was based on DOS. They want everything as original as possible, because you can port these games and you can upgrade them, make them better, make them work with different controls, but they don't want to do that. They want to preserve them.
Mm-hmm. So this is the best way for them to do that.
Is to, I guess, start up an entire organization that is dedicated to the preservation.
Do you think there's enough of a following for that effort?
I can't believe that the Grand Ole Opry is still going. So I guess my opinion is, kind of lackluster.
Well, you're the country music fan, or used to be. You don't like the Grand Ole Opry anymore?
Again, I'm not that interested in it. So
all right. Well, anyway, the studio again calls Digital Eclipse, and we'll see where it goes, I guess. But it's an interesting little story.
Yeah, for sure. Not going to save any lives, not going to win any Nobel Prizes, but at the same time, if you don't learn from your past, you're doomed to repeat it. And who knows, if you don't save all your side scrollers, one day maybe all video games will just become side scrollers again. How terrible would that be?
It's like was it the What's that side scroller game that I liked? With the
Mario?
no, with the spaceship that would shoot and the left and right, and you would travel.
Oh no, Galaga?
No, not Galaga, but it started with a W. Anyway,
No idea.
no idea. Anyway, those games evidently will be preserved, and and uh, and hopefully will never go away.
Yep.
Okay. We don't have time to start another story, I don't think.
We have about a minute, so since we don't have any contest winner or anything to tease like that, though, let's give people a nice little treat here, and let's talk about how Airbus, you know them, they
Yes.
do things. They have designed something that SpaceX has been working on with their Dragon rocket.
Mhm.
They too are now competing in the same field where they want a reusable rocket design that will take people up to space. Space tourism is in its infancy.
Hmm.
Yes, Craig, it's exciting. That means in another couple of years, let's say 5 to 10 years,
You'll be able to
people
go.
will be able to will be able to buy a ticket to space.
Hopefully, it won't be a one-way one like the SpaceX program.
Okay, let's no. First off, that was not SpaceX. That was Mars One.
Mars one, yes.
No, but okay, let's put this into perspective. Craig, were you born before or after the first man in space?
Before.
Okay, and now during your lifetime, you're going to be able to buy a ticket and go to space whenever you want.
That would be very cool.
The advancement of space travel is never ending and is so exciting. We're going to talk about this one again. It's about Airbus making a reusable rocket, the first step to taking commuters to space.
And we might mention a couple of things that were unveiled at the Worldwide Developer Conference.
We'll talk about that as well.
Yes, we will. All right, this is Computer America. I got a news bulletin review from Marty Winston, a brand new one. You never heard it before. That's all coming up. Stay with us. Looking for a best friend? Brother Wolf Animal Rescue has your best friend waiting just for you. The mission of Brother Wolf Animal Rescue is to help build a sustainable, no-kill community where no dogs or cats are ever killed for population control, where true euthanasia is reserved only for animals who are irremediably suffering or for animals who are truly a threat to society and with no hope of rehabilitation. Brother Wolf staff and volunteers go door to door, neighborhood by neighborhood, to educate citizens about local resources available for at-risk pets and to help their families connect with those resources. Brother Wolf's community-based approach to no-kill helps keep family pets healthy, happy, and in their homes and out of the local shelter system in the first place. For more information or to make a tax-deductible donation to this wonderful 501c3 organization, visit their website at www.bwar.org. Help to realize Brother Wolf's vision when no animal is euthanized for lack of a home.
Who's a good boy?
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they are available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
Stand by for more of the same. It's Marty Winston with the News Tips Bullet Review for Computer America. This time, the Hampton Brinks commercial-grade padlock. How many episodes of Storage Wars do you watch before you start thinking, maybe the gym locker padlock you put on your own storage space, just maybe it isn't enough? We turn to the advice of Hampton Products, the manufacturer of many products under the licensed Brinks Home Security brand. We saw several good designs on their website involving very tough-looking laminated steel layers, but they responded with an even better choice, the new Brinks commercial padlock, ready for this model 672-52001. The laminated body gains an elastomeric jacket, little rubbery jacket, so it won't scar the surface behind it. The 2-inch body is formed from 26 laminations. The 2-inch shackle is a hardened boron steel alloy. The dual ball bearing lock mechanism resists hammer and pry attacks. The brass lock cylinder has 5 pick-resistant pins. The specs say 7,000 pounds of resistance to prying, 11,000 pounds to cutting. Bottom line, getting past a Brinks 672-52001 commercial padlock may not be impossible, but it won't be quick. It won't be easy, and for any but the most determined of intruders, it just won't happen. This is Marty Winston with the News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. 33 minutes past the hour. We are doing computer and technology news brought to you by, of course, Slimmer Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. And Craig, if nothing, let's go on to our next news story that we were teasing right before the break. And that's about how Airbus has a new type of engine.
Yes.
That is reusable. And it has this neat little video. By the way, the article that I found was from Popular Science. Lauren Grush is the author. And they actually have a YouTube video that you can go check out. It's, by the way, this new type of rocket is called Adeline, Adeline. And it's Airbus's answer to SpaceX's reusability of their rocket parts. Yeah. And the video is only about 2 minutes long. Very cool. You should go check it out. Explains this whole concept. But essentially, it's going to be the main thruster part of the rocket is it's actually kind of cute. They put airplane wings on the sides of these rockets. Mm-hmm. And like they look kind of dorky, kind of futuristic, what have you, but they act just like rudders during normal spaceflight. And then as they detach, because of course most spacefaring rockets are 3-stage, I want to say, are 3-stage rockets. And the second stage houses the majority of the really heavy engines. So this during the second stage of the rocket, instead of that falling away and falling into, and by the way, people with much smarter brains than myself spend long nights doing calculations so that these engine parts fall into the ocean, fall in places where people are not, so that no one ever gets hurt by falling debris. Well, instead of it just falling into an ocean, harmlessly somewhere, it actually has these wings. As I said before, pieces break up, and as it descends back through the atmosphere, it kind of levels itself out, and I guess it kind of has propellers hidden away, and the parts break off, the propellers kick in, and it starts flying just like a basic two-engine airplane, where then that part will then fly back to a runway that the Airbus has, and it goes right back into the shop. Like it lands on the runway all by computers, goes into the shop, and then Airbus can reuse all those parts that are on that they're on that engine and just stick it right there on the next rocket. It's saving about a third of the waste that would have gone into a rocket, which of course means saving money. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they don't have to manufacture that part all over again.
That's true. Yep, reusability is key to the success of plans like this.
Yeah, it's actually very, very adorable. Again, this is all in response to SpaceX, because they're really working very, very hard on their Falcon 9, I want to say. their idea of reusable rockets are they have a boat out in the middle of the ocean right now, and they want the thrusters to come back and land on the dock of the plane, which then they can again take them and use them again and again and again. Their way of cutting down costs. This is Airbus's way, and it's adorable. And I really do hope it works as well as the video made it out to be, because again, they're not hoping, or I'm sorry, they're not really going to be ready for launch until about 2025. So they'll be testing stuff out. Well, they won't really have a chance to test this stuff out for another 10 years. But if they manage to do this, it's another piece to commuter space. It's one more part of being able to say to your date, hey, do you want to go to the movies, or would you like to take a ride down to down to the beach, or how about space? Do you like space? Have you ever been? They have great sushi. Like, it's it seems so futuristic, but hey,
Possible.
yeah, tourism in space is going to be a real thing, and this is a step towards that. So, Craig, what do you think?
I think it's going to possibly be in your lifetime. It might be past my lifetime. I think that because even if it is, you have to be in certain physical condition to go through space, because obviously getting up there and going down is not going to be like a normal plane ride.
You never know.
Yeah, I think it's a ways off. I think that you or your kids eventually will enjoy this. It might be a little too late.
Okay, well, you say you or your kids. I'm definitely doing this because
Right.
in your lifetime, you saw the first man go into space ever.
Yes, it did.
And probably before you go, let's hope that's not for another half an hour, because that's when the show ends. Before you go, you're you're at least gonna start seeing the fledgling of space tourism. So it's if that happens in one generation, technology advances at such a crazy rate. If you thought when you first got into computers that 1 megabyte hard drives were all you were ever going to need, and now you can get 10 gigabits per second speed in Vermont, of all places, technology is never going to stop increasing at this rate. It seems too good not to be true.
Yeah, unless we blow ourselves off the face of the planet.
Let's hope we do that before Moore's Law ends, because Moore's Law is awesome.
It is. And speaking of technology, here's something again, and this is from Apple.
What a weird segue.
I was kind of surprised to see this. Apple, we have iTunes downloads, wonderful. But according to this story from Popular Science, Apple, the service is called Apple Music. They just introduced it today.
Yeah, they really went out on a limb with their marketing team and gave it a strange name.
Yeah, but they hope to wean customers off iTunes downloads. It's been one of the they want to get people away from downloading music, which was the dream of Steve Jobs and everything. Apple just made itself relevant, according to music lovers, again, because today the company announced a new streaming music service for the iPhone, iPad, Mac, PC, Apple TV, and Android called Apple Music. It's a subscription-based service and allows people to search and stream millions of songs from iTunes and also listen to curated playlists. So again, this is streaming music, so you don't actually have the music anymore. That when you watch a movie from Netflix, you don't actually have the movie either. But you can get all you can eat, all you want. So if you want to listen to the same song 15 bazillion times, you can, because you have the stream. And what is this going to cost you? Apple Music will cost, according to Apple, $9.99 a month. Okay, a little more than Netflix. Or people can subscribe to a family plan for $14.99 a month that allows up to 6 people to simultaneously use one account. Now, Apple is offering a 3-month free trial at the launch of Apple Music, and it'll be available to everyone on the 30th of this month. The Android app will be available later this year. So before going further into this, what do you think, Ben? Of I mean, because I know you like a lot of music. I know your mom keeps all the songs she buys them. So you don't have them anymore. But you can play as many and have as access to as many songs as you want. But you don't own them. You just stream them.
Sadly, this is another case of Apple being reactionary and not innovative, because this has been a trend. Like, iTunes has been on the way out for years now. Like, this has been going on forever.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like Spotify, Pandora, all these other streaming apps that I'm currently drawing a blank on.
Yeah.
Rdio, I believe we use Groove Shark. Owning your music is a thing of the past, because there are services out there that want that monthly fee, that have a steady income. Because let's face it, if you buy on iTunes, let's say you buy one track, right?
Yep.
And you have that track forever. You can listen to it forever and ever and ever, and Apple will never see another dime from you ever again. But now let's pretend that you pay a fraction for that one track every month. And you know that every month going forward, and even though they listen to that song, you're still getting an income from music that they're listening to. It's a much more steady revenue stream. And companies have found a way to mitigate the initial cost, because people, from a consumer standpoint, you're saying, oh, hey, I can pay the cost of one album nowadays and get unlimited all kinds of music, or I can pay for that one album and then that's it. Like, it just doesn't make sense anymore not to do it that way.
So ownership really is the thing of the past when it comes to these things.
Yes. Yeah, no question.
Okay. So
It seems counterintuitive, because on some level you like to think that people really do want to own their music. Like you think people want to be able to say, okay, no one can ever take this from me, but we're not seeing that.
it's just the collectors. I mean, I know even your brother likes to collect long playing records. Just to have them, just to physically have something that belongs to you, and you're saying
But he's
that
the
is dying out.
Yeah, he has no doubt the minority in this whole situation.
Yeah, exactly. Uh, Today we live in a disposable society, and this fits right into that, doesn't it?
Not disposable, convenient. We live in a very convenient society where you want any music that you could possibly want, and you want it now, and you want it cheap. This is why Netflix was such a huge success, because you can go out and buy one DVD for the price of a month of Netflix. But hey, for the price of one DVD, you can watch as many movies as you want on
Yep.
Netflix.
Yep.
Like, you
I've
want it
never,
convenient and cheap.
I have never understood ownership when it comes to movies. I have what maybe I own 6 or 7 DVDs. I have an acquaintance I know that has rooms and
He
rooms full of
has, you wouldn't even know what
Oh
color wallpaper he has.
no, I mean it's just and it's sad. I look at that. I said, "Why?" I said, "When was the last time you watch it?" I mean, I didn't want to say anything to, and I think this goes to the same mindset that not only movies but music. I mean, after you listen to music for so long, I mean, if you get nostalgic, you want to hear the song you haven't listened to 2 years ago, you can still do it with the streaming. You don't necessarily own it, but you can call it up immediately, unless your internet is down or something's happened. Other than
But
that,
really, thanks to cell networks, when are you ever truly without internet nowadays?
that's true. Well, that's it. So this really is the way of the future. But you're saying it's not innovative.
But for Apple to be doing it, again, it's not innovative.
They had to do it eventually, right? I mean,
They had to do it. iTunes, when it first came out, everyone was like, "Oh, I can put all of my media that I traditionally had on CDs and cassettes in a digital platform and had them managed in one place." That's amazing, and it was amazing back then. But iTunes had its day, and now it's going the way of the dodo. It's people like convenient and they like cheap, and Apple Music, thank goodness that they're trying to evolve, and they're offering the service.
Yeah, I guess Apple had to do it sooner or later. So this basically is Apple's way of moving itself into the 21st century and keeping in pace. They're offering their own music service, and chances are, because of the large commitment of followers with Apple, I predict this will probably be successful. People will start using it. They'll check it out, and
They've released some. By the way, the radio station is called Beats One.
Mhm.
It's really trying to incorporate that whole brand name associated with Beats headphones by Dre, and all their commercials. They're trying to make a cool statement. It's like, hey, we're Apple. We're the hipster crowd, and we're hip and cool. And check out all the music that we have. But honestly, it's not doing it for me. But they have radio stations. You can curate your own playlist. You can listen to your own music. It's they have a lot in there uh that is only Apple. Like you'll only get some of these services through Apple. You'll obviously you'll get Apple only stations through Apple. But at the end of the day, it's all the same music that you've been listening to, with maybe here and there some exclusive titles because hey, it's Apple. They have enough money to pay for exclusivity. Uh, but it's just music anywhere, anytime you want, and you pay a low monthly cost.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think this is something that they had to do because I realize they're not innovative in this particular area here, but it's something they have to offer to their customers.
iTunes isn't going away, but just the way that the cultural shift has been going on is that you know they are like people are just shifting away from iTunes. They're not deleting iTunes. They're not taking iTunes out of their repertoire. It's just people don't really want iTunes.
Yeah. Well, and this is their answer to offer them something like this.
Yep. Did we get into the specifics of it?
Other than the amount, of what they're charging,
$9 a month. Let's see, and you can subscribe to a family plan for $15 a month, which allows 6 people to listen simultaneously.
Yeah.
For one account. So let's say you have kids and they want to listen to their music, just get a family plan, and you don't worry about them hogging all the music. They have a 3-month free trial at launch, and it will be coming out again June 30th.
All right. Well, we'll certainly keep an eye on that. And again, this is just one of several things that they announced at the Worldwide Developer Conference. Apple is going to try to wean people away, and I guess they will eventually. I mean, what as you mentioned, iTunes is not going away. It's still a huge moneymaker for them. But as the generation continues to shift, Apple has to have their fingers in all the pies. So when they move over, they're going to be prepared. They'll have it. They have iTunes Radio. They have other things that they have as well that are still going to be here.
They like a lot of companies, they don't survive if they don't adapt. We saw that with Yahoo and how they're struggling right now to try to make it back into the limelight. AOL is somehow mysteriously still trying to reemerge from the ashes, but companies who don't adapt are doomed to fail. And luckily, I think Apple is showing a lot of agility here, especially one of its size, in trying to provide another service that people are obviously wanting. Again, not innovative, but definitely applause for the reaction speed.
Exactly. Okay, I concur.
Okay. This next story, one of the last ones tonight. We don't have much longer, but this last story, or not. Okay, my last story is MLG. Greg, you know what that is?
What was it? MLG?
MLG.
No, what is that?
Major League Gaming.
Oh, okay.
Not MLB, which is Major League Baseball. MLG. It's they've just announced for their Dota 2, for their Defense of the Ancients 2, and Call of Duty Advanced Warfare Finals, the championships for these. These are 2 of the big games that are going to be going on during the, again, MLG World Finals, October 16th to the 18th. They'll be held in New Orleans. This is really much an announcement. It's esports again, just renting out giant venues where they're expressing their form of sports again, esports, video games, and they will have a prize pot. I'm sorry, they have a prize pool of more than $500,000
Ooh,
for this one event.
wow.
This will be their 100th live event, and they've awarded more than $13.5 million in prize money over the years since their founding in 2002.
Mhm.
Yeah, they have a general admission for $50 or a VIP pass for about $200 a piece. If you're a gaming fan, this is going to be a really awesome one. I just thought I'd bring this up because we're going to start seeing esports kind of bleed over into the real world, because I just heard through another source that uh, League of Legends, one of my favorite games, their championships. Their championships, like last year for the World Finals,
Mhm.
they rented out the Coliseum that the Olympics were held in China.
Ah,
Well, that was rented out for the League of Legends championships, and they filled it. Like they filled an Olympic-sized a stadium with people who like video games. And coming at the end of this year for the North America stretch of it, the finals are going to be held in. Can you guess?
where they had the China.
No,
No?
North America one.
Oh. I thought they had the same venue. No, I have no idea. We're in North America.
They're going to be renting out Madison Square Garden.
Whoa, that's impressive.
And yeah, and they're going to host the finals there for North America. So it's going to be a trend that we're going to start seeing, where esports, typically hailed as the baby of all sports, is going to start bleeding over into the real world and renting out these giant venues, and you're going to see sweaty, smelly, nerdy gamers in some very high profile places, because hey, that's the way things are going.
I mean, look at Twitch. I mean, look at all the
Oh, they get 500,000, 1 million, sometimes up to 2 or 3 million at on off nights.
so they could
Just people watching.
easily fill a venue like Madison Square
Yep.
Garden. Right. And that seems to be the direction of the future. I think so many things are changing. The
Technology only makes it change faster, though.
yeah, it does exactly. So the MLG Finals 2015 100th event in New Orleans, October the 16th, the 18th. All right.
Yep.
Well, check your calendars. Like that. Do we have time for one more story? Or are we?
One more quick one if you got it.
This is Microsoft is aiming to remove legal speak from license agreements. We'd actually mentioned a little bit before, but basically, they're expanding its service agreement to cover most of its consumer services like Bing and Cortana, OneDrive, Skype, Xbox Live, that type of thing. Microsoft is refreshing its privacy statement, all in an effort to be more transparent. In other words, making things easier to understand and avoid the repetitiveness that comes about having to go through separate documents from multiple services. This is basically the shrink wrap. You have to agree.
Terms of service. It's like here's a 40-page document. Do you agree? And no one's going to read it. And of course, you want to use the product.
Yeah. So, what do you think this is even necessary? Because I don't care how transparent they're going to make it.
They have a quote here. They have, quote, "In a world of more personalized computing, customers need meaningful transparency and privacy protections, and those aren't possible unless we get the basics right. For consumer services that start with clear terms and policies that both respect individual privacy and don't require a law degree to read."
Yeah, exactly.
There is nothing wrong with trying to make the terms of your product, simple to understand.
Terms of service. If it's easier to understand, then it'll make it easier for it to agree or say no.
Or maybe Microsoft just had a falling out with their legal crew and they're trying to do away with them. It's like, dudes, we don't need you anymore. We're just going to say it in plain English. Don't worry about it.
Exactly, could be. Oh my gosh. Well, I think that wraps up the show tonight. And again, I want to thank Atmosphere's CEO Matt Crumline for being here with us. Very interesting hour. And again, you can listen to it again at computeramerica.com. Coming up tomorrow night's show, Josh Boykin is going to be here, our gamer correspondent. It is our Gamer Tuesday show. Exactly.
He's a cool guy.
And yeah, he is. One of the things we're going to be talking about is MOBAs. That's multiplayer online battle
arenas.
Yeah, and and we're going to be talking about that. And let's see what else. Storytelling in gaming for 2015. In other words, adventure games are constantly evolving, and so we're gonna talk about adventure gaming, storytelling in video games, and other adventure games we played in the past and are looking forward in the future.
90 seconds.
And then, of course, we're getting ready for the really big show, E3 in 2015. It's going to officially start on the 16th of June. And then, so this is going to be our last chance to talk about E3 before the actual show arrives. And we're going to talk about, what we intend to see there, some last-minute predictions before the show. And then when the show actually comes out, we're going to, which is the
60 seconds.
17th of June, and a week and a day, we'll have actual coverage of the E3 event coming up. So again, if you're into gaming, tomorrow night is the show to be. Again, Josh Boykin, editor at large for Pop Zara magazine. He is going to be joining us for both hours on the show, and we hope we will see you there as well.
We expect you there.
Yes, it is mandatory. So until tomorrow night, this is Craig Crossman hoping that your hard disk never becomes floppy. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Good night, everyone.
10 seconds. Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Okay, everybody. Again, thanks for watching. Gamer Tuesday tomorrow night with Josh Boykin. We're going to be talking about all those great things, including E3. And Ben and I hope to see you there with us tomorrow night. Thanks again. Bye, everybody.
Good night, everyone.